Okay, good morning. This is the Portent team. We're presenting today on Google AdWords 101. Sorry, we're taking care of that echo right now. Thanks so much for coming in this morning after your Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure y'all are getting coffee and starting to think about Google AdWords as you enter into this week. I just want to give you a sense of the agenda as we move forward here. And again, this is Bria Starmer talking with you today. I'm going to sort of intro our presentation and get you over to our featured speaker today, who is Chad. So we're going to first just give you a really quick overview about Portent, so you know a little bit about who's on the other end of the line with you, and then we'll go through Google AdWords 101. So we're going to teach you about developing an account structure, campaign settings, talking about the all-important keywords, creating effective ads, utilizing ad extensions, and tracking your success. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit more about how Portent may be able to help you, and then get into a robust, hopefully, Q&A session. To handle Q&A, your lines are muted because that keeps it a little bit easier on our end. So the way that we would recommend doing questions is over on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar console, there's a question and answer box. So feel free throughout the presentation to submit questions through that queue. And if they are general and applicable to the group, we will ask them on your behalf at the end, and so we'll facilitate that discussion. Also, at the very end of our presentation, I've got Chad's email address in here for you, so you can email him with anything specific that we may not cover today. So that's how we're going to handle this. And then another note is at the very end of our presentation, we're going to send you an email with several links, including to this presentation and an ebook that we've written, etc., to get you started. So, so feel free to take notes if you want, but we will send you the deck. So with that, let me just move on to tell you just a little bit more about Portent. Portent is located in Seattle, Washington, and it is beautiful and sunny out here today. It is not raining, even though you may think it might be, but we are about a 55-person agency. We've been in business for about 18 years before Google was even created, and we help agencies, we help our clients go to market online in a variety of different ways. And so we rally around the definition of the word portent, which means the forecast of something big on the horizon. We like to help our clients with that. And admittedly, we are total nerds. So I want to show you just one more slide about how we think about internet marketing. Today, we're going to focus on this very top left corner around paid audience acquisition. But Portent thinks about the entire stack. If you think about infrastructure, analytics, and content being the things on your site that have to work, and then the channels up top, paid, earned, and owned, is how we go out and help clients acquire their audience. So paid is an important part of that overall marketing channel. So I'm anxious that y'all are interested in learning a little bit more about that channel today. So with that, let me introduce my colleague Chad as he teaches us a little bit about Google AdWords 101. Chad.
Thanks, Bria. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys could join us today. Just as another quick overview, I know Bria kind of already outlined what we're going to be going over. What I'm going to be talking about today is looking at account structure and how to develop that. Then on the campaign level, looking at optimizing your campaign settings. Then we'll be looking at researching keywords, writing affecting ads, utilizing ad extensions, which can be really helpful and can somewhat be overlooked, especially by advertisers with not a lot of experience. And then finally, we want to look at tracking success, something that I think is vital to really not just paid search, but all of your online marketing efforts. So hopefully we can give you a couple good insights, and there'll be some good things for you to take away. So first, looking at developing the account structure. Just as a quick look at an overall account level, just kind of giving you an idea of what makes up an account. Within your account, you're going to have multiple campaigns, and within those campaigns will be ad groups, and those keywords and ads will live in those ad groups. So within a campaign, within an account, that's really what's going to be holding everything. And it's going to have one billing credit card per account. Looking at the campaign level, campaigns are based on a common theme. Typically, when we work with online dealers, what we normally find is that breaking your accounts up into campaigns by brand is really, really helpful. So here what I've done is we have your account structure. The first campaign that I've laid out is Precore. Everyone here is Precore dealer. you should be selling pre-core products online. So, but this campaign structure can also go across your other manufacturers that you produce for. So ideally, when you're looking at your overall account, each individual campaign is going to be for a different manufacturer that you sell products of. Breaking down the ad group is where we want to see now those individualized subset of your original theme. So pre-core, we have ellipticals and we have treadmills. You might also sell bikes, stretching machines, whatever else pre-core offers. Those can all be your ad groups. So a couple things about ad groups, looking at individual products or product categories. One thing about ad groups is when you have multiple ad groups within one campaign, all of those ad groups are going to abide by the single campaign settings, which is something that we'll cover very shortly. So now we're going to look at optimizing your campaign settings. There are tons of campaign settings out there. I think each campaign comes with 10 to 15 different settings of what you can kind of go through and choose what you want to do. In the best interest of time, I'm going to go over 2 settings that I find that advertisers often overlook or don't optimize correctly. So the first is choosing the networks that you're going to show your ads on. And there's really 3 main different types of networks. The first is a search network. Those are going to be your traditional ads that show up on the SERP when someone searches for, in this example, the screenshot I have is a pre-core treadmill. So here we have 5 text ads all laid out, and these are ads opted into the search network. The second option of what you can do is what's called Google Shopping, and this is going to be through a product feed that you create. Google Shopping is a really, really big piece of what Google is doing, and I really recommend it for all online retailers. You must be doing this. If you're not doing this right now, you're really missing out on a big opportunity for you. Google is testing, is really always testing their search results, and I've seen SERP pages with up to 16 different product image ads. So they're really putting a big emphasis on this, and it's going to be something definitely that you should be looking at in the future if you're not already up on Google Shopping. The third network is going to be the display network, and so these are going to be contextually targeted ads around websites that opt in to allow Google to show ads. So you're going to be able to target based on keywords, target based on individual websites. So if you really want to get detailed with it, you can research websites or blogs that have to do with your products and show ads there. It's a really good way to drive initial traffic to your site. What we find is that on the display network, for last click conversions, as far as people clicking on a display ad and going onto your site and converting, those conversion rates typically aren't very strong, but many times those people who find your page for the first time, they'll come back a day later, they'll come back 2 days later and convert. And we find that is really, really effective. So a pro tip on the campaign settings, looking at the search network, looking at the networks. Separate your networks by campaign. So you should never have a network or a campaign that targets both the display and both the search network. Those networks interact very differently from each other and should be targeted very differently from each other. Mixing them together doesn't usually work out very well. The other thing is Google Shopping is a must. I know I already went over that, but if you're not on Google Shopping right now, if you don't have a product feed in a Merchant Center account, that needs to be something that you really get started on. The second campaign that I wanted to look at, the second campaign setting that I wanted to look at was mobile bidding and mobile bid modifiers. Mobile traffic is really growing in importance, and this chart I've laid out here is showing the amount of mobile searches done year over year in the United States. So 2014, we're still seeing more desktop and laptop searches over mobile, but in 2015, those will be equal, and then 2016, mobile traffic is actually going to surpass what's being searched for on the desktop. So it's really, really important that you not only understand how visitors from mobile devices interact on your site, but it's important that you tool your PPC campaigns to kind of go with that. So PPC performance can drastically vary by device. What I've done here is this is an account that we've been working on. It just came in for an audit. I've been working through. What I did here was I broke down performance by device. So we see here on the computers and tablets and mobile devices, average cost per click is all relatively the same. 55 cents on computers, 44 cents on tablets and mobile devices. But what we really want to start looking at is transactions, conversion rate, and CPA. And those are the three numbers that really affect your bottom line. A $35 CPA, we're talking 3 to 4 times over the account average from a transactional standpoint when looking at computers and tablets. Obviously, what we can see here is that traffic on mobile devices is not converting. They're not buying things. They're coming to the site. They may look around 1 or 2 pages, but we're leaving. That said, it's really, really important that we bid less and spend less money on those mobile visits. So what we can do, and at the campaign level, what you can do is go in and actually decrease your bids for visitors coming by mobile devices. So if you know that visitors coming in through mobile do not convert well, they're costing you a lot of money, you can just go in and decrease your bid by 25, 50, even 100% to eliminate mobile traffic. On the other side of that, if you find that that mobile visitors convert really well, they actually convert better than people on computers or tablets, you can increase your mobile bids to get more mobile traffic and improve your mobile position. It's a really great way to kind of compartmentalize what's going on in your campaigns as far as mobile traffic. So researching keywords. Free tools. I wanted to lay out a couple of free tools that I always use. We do use free tool or paid tools at Portent, but I find myself using these free tools more than anything, and I think that can be really helpful. So the first is the AdWords Keyword Planner, and this is going to be found actually in the Google AdWords interface under the Tools section. And what you can do is you can just there's a couple ways you can use it. You can go in and implement your keywords into the search query box and just it'll spit out a bunch of ad group ideas. It'll spit out a bunch of additional keyword ideas, what you may not think of. Additionally, there's a search query report in the interface, and that's going to show you what visitors are actually searching for when your ads are being triggered. So it's another way to add additional keywords into your account. Uber Suggest is something not related to Google, and it's the one on this list that isn't. Ubersuggest.org is a really great way to add long tail keywords, which are important into your campaigns. So long tail keywords are keywords that are 3 words or longer. Typically, we find that they're much more detailed, and they may be lower volume keywords, but the keyword conversion rates on those should be much higher. So if you know if you know a core keyword is going to be something like pre-core treadmills, if you go into Uber Suggest and pull up pre-core treadmills, it'll come out with 100 or 200 extra long tail keywords like new pre-core treadmills, and that's kind of a short idea, but it'll come out with these really long-term high quality keywords that you can use. And the last free tool that I've laid out here is Google Search Query Box, and this is probably the most simple, but for me it's actually probably the most useful keyword tool that I use. And it's going here. I'm in a little trouble with the slides. There we go. Okay, so it's really, really simple. And all I do is I go into, if I'm working on an account, say I'm working on a pre-core, I go into Google, I just type pre-core A, and we get 4 selections that come up. I can go through and pick and choose. Maybe, those spike my interest. And I have pre-core B, pre-core bike. That's something that's obtainable to me. And you can literally just go through A to Z and just find a lot of niche keywords and keywords that you didn't really think of. It's going to be really, really easy to find those core keywords. But what's harder and where you're going to really find success is where you can get in and find those detailed keywords where maybe competition is lower, and you can really find yourself winning on those. Negative keywords. Negative keywords are also a really important aspect of what we're doing and what we try to do in all the PPC accounts that we work with. Negative keywords are words and phrases that you don't want your ads to be associated with. So kind of some general keywords that we always exclude from the majority of the accounts we work in are free, cheap, job, and salary. We don't want people looking for pre-core jobs when we're trying to sell them a treadmill. We don't want people looking up salary. So additionally, for your pre-core dealers, maybe you don't sell anything used. Maybe you don't repair at your store or rent out equipment. Those are all going to be important keywords that you want to make sure to exclude in your campaigns. So here's an example of a query that I pulled. I need a free pre-core treadmill. Maybe I don't have any money I can't afford a pre-core treadmill. I don't have $2,000 to spend on a piece of exercise equipment. But here are all these advertisers who are not excluding free through their negative keywords. And personally, as a user, I know that I can't pay money, but I still might go and click on these ads. And even though it's pretty unrealistic that I'm going to buy something, it's still going to cost the advertiser money. So just avoiding these kind of common negative keywords is going to save you a ton of money, and it's going to increase your efficiency. So researching keywords pro tip, use your instinct to build your core keywords. Like I said, pre-core treadmill, bikes, those really, really simple, those are going to come intuitively. It's going to be really simple. But using those keyword tools to build your long tail keywords is going to be really important. And that's really where you're going to find success in your accounts. Keeping your ad group keyword list tightly knit is really important for quality score purposes. The higher your quality scores on your keywords, the lower the average cost that you pay per click. So really trying to find a way to tightly knit all your keywords together. It's going to help you with efficiency. It's going to help you with conversion rates. And it's going to help you pay less per click. So moving on to creating ads. We'll start with the headline. It's very, very important to always use your core keywords in the headline. When your core keywords are used and someone is searching for that, those keywords will become bold in the ad. And that's going to stand out to a visitor on those pages, and click-through rates will increase. So here I've laid out a couple headline examples. Pre-core 935 treadmill, shop pre-core treadmills. These are all headlines with your core keywords. Also, you can try asking a question. We find that asking a question, solving the need, increases conversion rate, or increases click-through rates, excuse me. And then also using promotional copy. So if you're running a sale, if you have, let's say this past weekend you had a Memorial Day sale running, 25% off all pre-core bikes, or implementing promotions into the headlines will also help. The next aspect of the ad is going to be the description line, and there's going to be two of these. So the first thing that I look at in the description line is always use your value proposition. So why should I buy over someone else? Why should I buy your products over someone else? The products that you're going to be selling are going to be very common to the products of the other dealers. So you have to make yourself stand out in another manner. So whether it's free shipping, or if you do free service repairs, bundling a free product in, with that piece of exercise equipment, those are all things that are going to make you stand out, and they need to be shown in the ad copy. A couple other things: if you have lifetime warranties, or if you actually come and set up the product for those local vendors. The third and final aspect of the ad copy is going to be description line 2, and we should always focus here on a call to action. We want to tell people exactly what they want to do, and we find that call to actions not only increase click-through rates, but they also increase conversion rates. So if you are just purely online retail, getting people to buy online today, whether it's through percentage savings or buy now. The second thing is visiting a store location. So if you're a local dealer and you're targeting people in your localized area, have them come into the store, let them know when the store closes, or make it convenient for them. If you have multiple stores within a given location, let them know that it's easy to go to, easy to get to a location near them. And then call to purchase. If anyone out there has call centers where they sell through, call us today for a free pricing quote, or talk to a sales rep today. Let your users know exactly what they need to do, and that's really going to help your conversion rates. So here's a couple examples that I laid out, just taking the headline idea of using your core keywords, implementing in a value proposition, and then using a call to action to tell them what to do. These are a couple ads that I brought up just really quickly, just going through and using that quick formula. So ad copy pro tip, ad copy should always directly relate to the keywords that you're using in that same ad group. So if you're advertising for bikes in that ad group, make sure your ads are advertising for bikes. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but I see this done a lot of times, is that the keywords in the ad copy won't really line up. Directing visitors to targeted destination URLs within your site. Don't just send people to the homepage. If you know that someone is looking for a Pre-Core elliptical, don't send them to the homepage. Don't send them to the Pre-Core dealer page. Send them to the page with only Pre-Core ellipticals on them. That's really, really going to help conversion rates along the way. And then always be testing multiple ads. You can test your headlines, test your value propositions, test your call to actions. Those are all going to help you along the way as far as improving click-through rate, improving conversion rate, which is really what we're after. So utilizing ad extensions. There's 3 ad extensions that I want to go over, which are pertinent for these kind of online dealers. The first is going to be Sitelinks, and this is just a really great way to get more real estate on the page. We find that implementing Sitelinks is going to increase your click-through rate more than any other extension that's available through AdWords, and it's an opportunity to fulfill multiple needs. So take, for example, if someone is just searching for a brand name. In this example, I took a screenshot from the pre-course AdWords ad. And so if someone's searching just for Pre-Core, you don't know if they're looking for ellipticals or treadmills, anything like that. So implementing these site links can take them to a deeper linked page within the site. It's going to help with the user experience. It's going to help with your click-through rate. A couple notes about site links is that they all have to have unique URLs. So a couple years ago, it didn't matter what the URLs were for the site links. If you had just a pure landing page, a PPC landing page, you could create 2, 4, or 6 site links and send everyone to the same landing page. Now every single site link needs to have a unique destination URL, and then those site links are limited to 25 characters each. The second ad extension is going to be call extensions, and this is the opportunity to put your phone number directly into your ad. So if someone's on a mobile device, they can click to call your phone number, or people can just pick up their phone and manually input your number. There's 2 ways you can go about using call extensions. The first is through implementing your actual phone number. So a lot of advertisers like to use this because it maintains branding. If you're local, it shows that you're local by using the localized area code. The other thing that you can do is implement a Google forwarding call number. So that's going to be an 877 number. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to track a ton of information regarding calls coming in through AdWords. So you can track call date and time, when the call ends, if the call was received or if it was missed, how long that call lasted, and the location of that, the caller's area code. So it's going to give you a lot more tracking capability, but you are going to lose out a little bit on the branded. So as an advertiser, you just kind of need to weigh your priorities and what's more important to you. The final ad extension is going to be location extensions, and this is really, really ideal for people with physical stores where you can come in and buy the products. You can geo-target these. So if you're an advertiser in, let's say, Seattle, and you have stores in Seattle, but you're also advertising you're advertising your products online across the country, you don't necessarily want to show people in New York your location, because they're not going to come in into the store and buy something. So what you can do is you can geo-target these location extensions to only people within your geographic region, so only people who are likely to come into the store. And then these location extensions link through your Google Maps profile. So make sure that you have your Google Places for Business profile kind of in check before you implement these into the account. So pro tip for ad extensions. Basically, you should be using them at all times, and it's really, really vital to be doing those. So utilizing Sitelinks sends the visitors deeper into your sales funnel, increases conversion rates. Using call extensions by phone if phone sales are a big piece of your business. And then if you're local, you definitely need to be doing location extensions, drive more people into the store, and get them buying that way. So the final piece of what I'm going to be looking at today is going to be tracking your success. There's a couple ways to do that, and we're going to go over both of them. The first is through AdWords conversion tracking. So with AdWords conversion tracking, it's just one piece of code that needs to be implemented on your site, and that's going to go on like a thank you page or an order confirmation page. This is going to be a page that visitors can only reach after they pay and after they complete a transaction. So in AdWords, you won't be able to track revenue figures, but you will be able to track the number of transactions that come through. So that's going to help you with your ongoing optimization efforts. You're going to be able to see what keywords convert and what keywords do not. So that's really, really going to help you as you go forward. The second way to track, which we ideally like to do, is through Google Analytics. And this is going to help you in PPC, but it's also going to help you across all of your traffic sources. So with Google Analytics, it does take a little bit longer to set up. You're going to need to put tracking code on every single page on your site. But again, you're going to be able to see revenue figures and transaction figures from paid search, from direct traffic, from organic traffic. It's going to give you a much more comprehensive look into where your online revenue dollars are coming from. And this is really ideal for optimizing AdWords accounts and AdWords campaigns, because you're going to be able to actually see direct ROI numbers, direct revenue figures from your advertising efforts. Custom Google Analytics dashboards are really cool. It's something that I really like, and I personally enjoy building them. It's a really great way to pop into your analytics account and just get a quick overview of everything that's happening. You can customize these dashboards to show any kind of pertinent statistics or metrics that you want to see, and they're shareable across multiple profiles. So what I've done is I actually have created a custom dashboard for e-commerce clients. This is going to be a free dashboard that I have shared with everyone. So when we go through and send out the link bundle, you'll have this presentation. If you just click on that bit.ly link, you'll actually be able to install this dashboard into your Google Analytics profile if you have one. And if you don't have one, if you go ahead and set one up, then you can implement the dashboard as well. So this is just going to give you a quick overview of, from your AdWords account, how much revenue have I earned, how much have I spent, what's my total ROI. It looks at total visits, conversion rate, top performing non-branded keywords, and performance by campaign. So it's a really comprehensive overview of what's going on in your account. And something that we do with the clients that we work with is we set these dashboards up for them, and every day, when we start a day, we just pop in for 2-3 minutes, take a quick look at the dashboard, and if there's anything alarming, we can address them then. And that's really the great thing about these dashboards, is it just gives you a really quick, clear, and concise overview of what's going on in your AdWords account. So just a couple quick tips. Performance tracking is vital. If you're not doing it, you really, really need to do it. And if you're not going to implement analytics, or if you have a different tracking platform, using AdWords conversion tracking should be the bare minimum of what you do if you're using AdWords or are going to start using AdWords. And Google Analytics is free. It's completely free. So you can get all the features and all the bells and whistles, and you don't have to pay a dime for it. And these data insights that you gather, looking at conversion data, looking at transaction data, those are really the insights that you need to be using when you're going through and optimizing your campaigns. So at this point, I'm going to pass it back to Bria. She is going to go over a couple ways that we can help.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. Super helpful information. And if you are like Chad and get really into managing PPC campaigns because it's such a fun and exciting world, then awesome. Hopefully we've given you quite a bit of information to get you started. If you don't want to get into doing that on your own, Portent can help you, and we've developed a couple of packages for you that I just want to go through quickly, and by no means will this be a major focus, but I did just want to let you know about a few things that we could help you with. So Portent has what we call an Essentials program, and it's for businesses that don't necessarily need an enterprise level of support, but may need something just a little bit either more one-off to get set up or ongoing management of smaller budgets. And so the first thing I wanted to mention to you is a program that actually Chad manages called the Ppc Essentials Program. I'm going to give you some more details in a minute, but essentially if you are spending roughly less than $3,000 a month in online advertising, Portent can manage that for you for a very small management fee, and you actually get to talk to Chad, so that's a bonus. And then the other program is called Geo Essentials, Google Analytics Essentials, because as you just heard from Chad, getting set up on GA is a critical component to tracking. So we help companies get set up essentially. And then the last package I want to mention is SEO Essentials. And we're not talking today about search engine optimization, but hand in hand with PPC is, of course, having a site well optimized for SEO. So, and Portent does a lot of SEO work, so we can help you in that category as well. Just to give you a little bit more information about each of these PPC Essentials programs, again, this is Chad's managed program. There is a program on the left called Essentials, Essentials Plus is in the middle, and Essentials Premier is on the right. It doesn't matter so much what program it is, just know that based on ad spend, we could put you into a program where we would manage all of your copy, your headlines, reporting, and do all of that hand holding for you and all of the management for you. And you would get access to that reporting as frequently as you needed. Usually monthly is a good rhythm for that. So Chad is the guy to talk to if you want some additional help. If we were to look at Google Analytics Essentials, we've got a couple of different areas where we can help you with. This is a really easy one-time fee of $800 just to get you set up, and it included in here a couple of different benefits of the program. Perhaps you have GA installed already, but you're not exactly sure how to use it, or it's broken, or perhaps you don't even have it installed and you want to get it set up. We can certainly help you with that. And just to recap then on this last element of SEO Essentials, SEO is a lot of work. It takes quite a bit of time, but gosh, the payoff is so high when you can start to get traffic to your site organically rather than in a paid fashion. So we like to help clients get from paid to organic. And so with our SEO Essentials program, you get to work with one of our SEO experts, and we come out and give you essentially a list of the 10 biggest wins you could get for SEO, and we come in and walk you through them on the phone and tell you how to implement those things on your site so that you are better able to be found by search engines, and moving you up in the rankings is the goal. And so that's again a one-time package, although some folks buy that in multiple increments, but that's a $1,000 package for sort of that one-time consulting effort. Of course, Portent does a lot more for clients, and we'd be happy to talk to you about any of those things, but we wanted to give you enough information that you could run on your own. And so the PPC information that Chad shared was incredibly valuable. Thanks so much. And so now we've got a little bit of time to get into a Q&A session. I've seen a few things come in through the QA module through GoToWebinar, so I want to address a couple of those, but feel free to start typing them out and sending them over, and we will be sure to address them for you. So the first one is, could you just please have Chad clarify what CPA stands for?
Sure, definitely. CPA is cost per action or cost per acquisition. So really what CPA is the amount you pay for each sale. So it's taking your total cost and dividing it by total sales, or total transactions, not revenue, but the actual number of transactions that you make.
Okay, great. And then another question is essentially not all dealers sell online. but they all need to be found online. So how can we make some of this information relevant to sort of brand awareness or store locator, things like that?
Certainly, yeah. Again, those location extensions that I went over are going to be really, really big for you. You can geo-target your campaigns for just your region. So let's say, again, I just keep using the Seattle example, but if you're located in Seattle, you can target your campaigns to only show ads in Seattle. You can show your location extensions only in Seattle. And really, even if you're not selling online, the principles of kind of what I went over as far as account structure and ad copy and keywords, those really all apply regardless if you sell online, if you do or do not sell online.
Great. Chad, another question. Where should I be spending most of my time when I'm managing my pay-per-click campaigns?
I think there's a couple places that are really vital. First is budgeting changes, and at the end of the day, budget is probably is very, very important. So just maintaining your budget, checking in on those daily budget parameters at the campaign level. Then the two other places that I recommend really focusing on are going to be the keywords, going through and seeing what keywords convert well for you, what keywords don't convert well, and then also ad copy. Ad copy should always be tested and always be refreshed. So let's say after 30 days, if there's a clear winner between two ads, pausing the ad that's not performing as well and implementing a new one. Until your click-through rate is 100%, there's always going to be improvements that need to be made in the ad copy.
Okay, here's another question. What words should be bought if you're trying to target a customer who does not know our brand? Good question.
Yeah, and these keywords are going to be a lot tougher to convert on. But just looking at general keywords like people trying to buy treadmill. So treadmill, just by itself, that's going to be a very, very broad keyword, and you're probably going to spend a lot of money on it. But those are kind of the keywords that you want to go after. So just looking at more of those generic keywords that don't include your brand name. It's really going to be similar to those branded keyword lists, but just without the brand names in there.
Okay. Oh, how does blogging stack up against pay-per-click? Well,
I don't
maybe I
quite
can address that
understand.
one. Well, I think in terms, my guess is that this question is more about if they were to spend their time, where would their time be spent, one versus the other? I think they're so different. The channels are so different. Blogging, the benefit of blogging is that you're able to capture an audience with great content. And so if you were to produce a great blog post around, the top 10 benefits of using a treadmill, for example, the opportunity that content could get shared through social is really, that sort of expands your sales. So there's some big benefit in doing blogging for that purpose, although you're not going to necessarily catch a new audience through paid, which is the value of paid.
Yeah, and also what I would add on to that is that going through the blogging route and kind of really building your content, that's going to be a long-term strategy. Implementing new content and driving people to the content to then come through your website, that could be something that takes 3, 6, 9 months to really get going and really start seeing revenue from. The nice thing about PPC is that you can activate an account, build your campaigns, implement your ads, and you can start today and you can start seeing that revenue immediately. Mm-hmm. So it's a much shorter turnaround as far as ROI gain.
Mm-hmm. Great point. I like this question. I heard that people are now asking long questions in searches instead of typing in a few words. Your thoughts? For example, where can I find a treadmill for sale in Seattle?
Definitely. And really those kind of phrases, those search terms are what I talked about as the long tail keywords. So those long tail keywords are ideally really what you want to have in your account. The problem is with those long tail, and especially the example that you used, people are not going to search that very often. Those are going to be very low volume, but the search quality and the visitor quality coming into your site will be or can be very, very good. So if you're using a keyword just pre-core treadmills, that's going to be very broad, it's going to be very high volume, and it's going to have people looking for a lot of different things. which may not be ideal. So it's really going in and finding a balance between long tail keywords and kind of those more core broad keywords that find the volume levels that you're looking for.
How many keywords should I have in a campaign?
Sure. And that has to do a lot of mainly with the amount of ad groups that you have in a campaign. Typically, I recommend 6 to 8 ad groups per campaign at the most. I mean, I would say 8 ad groups at the most per campaign. Ideally, within those ad groups, you want to be looking at 8 to 10 keywords, really, really tightly knit, really, really focused on the ad copy that you are bidding on.
Okay, great. Let's see here. I've got a couple more questions. Should keywords be geographical, i.e. in a large metro area? Should I specify surrounding cities or neighborhoods?
Yeah, I think if you're you have physical locations for people to go in, that's going to be really, really useful. If you are just online retailer looking to sell across the country, I think that you can probably avoid going that route.
Okay. You're going to love this question. When does it make sense to expand to Bing or another platform?
I think there's going to be certain times when, as an account, you kind of reach the point of diminishing returns. And so the more you add into the account and the more you try to spend, you're just not going to see those revenue levels improving or those ROI levels improving either. I think that's when it's time to expand out to Bing. Bing is going to be much lower volume compared to AdWords, but you can definitely get good quality traffic there.
Okay. And if I only have a few $100s to spend on PPC each month, is it worth my while?
Definitely. Even if you only have, $500 or $1,000 to spend, you can still spend that extremely wisely, and you can still get a really, really nice return on that investment. Now that investment or that return isn't going to be necessarily huge, but if you build a strong base in an account with, a $500 budget, and you get that revenue coming back, that's just justifying more money to go into the account and start looking for expansion.
Okay, and I've got 2 more questions here. At what spend or level of complexity does it make sense to bring an agency in, Chad?
I don't think it has so much to do with spend or complexity. I think it has to do with time commitment being made by the advertiser. It's really important that you, on an ongoing basis, every week, checking in on your account, making changes. AdWords changes so much and the strategies change, it feels like every week they either take away a feature or they roll out a new feature, and it's really, really important to stay on top of all of those. So if you don't have the time to dedicate to it, I think that's the point where you need to start looking out for an agency.
Okay, great. And then the last question here from John is, what can we do to come up organically instead of through PPC? I think that's a really good question, and one that we probably want to spend an entire another webinar on, John. And so maybe that's something we can follow up with Jeff to address. Certainly an SEO 101 may be a good follow-on. I will just sort of reference back that Porton is happy to do one of those sort of 10 things reports to help you get started on your way with SEO, but we'd be happy to come back and give you some more general guidance as well in a follow-on presentation. So it looks like we've hit all of the questions that have come through. Such a good group. And I want to kick it back over to Chris Hugo to sort of wrap things up just a little bit.
Hello, folks. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks, Chad, for all the great information. I just want to remind all the attendees that if you do have any additional questions that come up for Chad, feel free to email him directly, and he can be reached at chad@portent.com, and you'll have a copy of his information that you see on the screen right here shortly. Today's webinar, the presentation slides, all the links will be coming your way in a follow-up email, so you can expect that from us here in the next 24 hours. And you'll also receive a link to a free copy of Portent's PPC for your small business ebook series. So a lot of great takeaways that can get you started right now. I would also like to invite you all to Portent's monthly webinar series, which will be hosted by our very own chairman, Ian Lurie, on Thursday, May 29th. This is something we do each month on a new topic within internet marketing. It's absolutely free, and we invite you all to join us. This week, he will be doing a Stump the Chump session. So you have the opportunity to ask him all of your marketing questions to try to stump him, and I do encourage you to try. Details about that webinar can be found on our webinar tab on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/portent.marketing. We thank you all so much for spending an hour with us today, and again, we'll be connecting with you here in the next 24 hours with the information we shared with you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.